Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning into this stream. And if you're new here, hi, I'm FEARSONA. You can call me Sona, and I'm your friendly neighborhood true crime VTuber. Today, FEARSONA, here to give you full body chills. I am dressed as not a full furry. I would say like I don't know, I don't know, Neko. But I wanted to dress for the occasion because today we are covering a murder case that happened kind of in the furry community. Well, it did happen in the furry community, and this is definitely one of the strangest cases I've ever come across. And that is saying something. And this is probably the first time we've dipped on a toe or two into the world of furries here on this channel. And to be honest, like, I wasn't expecting our introduction to come with such a gruesome twist, because it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Also, Shai, thank you so much for the super. I knew it! FEARSONA! Okay, listen, I had to dress for the occasion also because people tend to mispronounce my name as FEARSONA, not FEARSONA. So, hey, hi, hello. Also, we do have a goal. We have a goal today. If we get 20 super chats during this stream, I'll cover another case from the furry community next week. So we're gonna have a furry month. Joshua and Fabian, thank you so much for the supas. Katsona, so cute. Yes, Yan. Also Fabian, FEARSONA or PERSONA? Confirm. So, what should I be reading? Should I be singing? Oh, Jesus Christ. Should I be singing Soft Kitty? She's leaning into it. I am leaning into it. You know what? I'm gonna embrace it. Jesus, okay. Shai Katsona. Sure, why not? Also, Spitfire, thank you so much. Is that so? Yes, it is so. It is so. If we gather 20 super chats, then yes, next week, another furry true crime case, because believe it or not, there's been quite a few. And I think this one is, well, it's still gonna be pretty interesting, pretty messed up, but there are more, and some of them are, God, okay, they're gonna be a lot to handle. Also, Kronos, thank you so much for the super. I want to see PERSONA again. Oh no! What did I get myself into? Okay, so this is the last stream of the week. I do have to say I'm so sorry for some of you in the chat. Like, I did have to block you because my streams are generally for audience 18 plus, even though I don't mark it like as, I don't mark the video, because I do try to keep it, from YouTube marking it as like 18 plus, but it's better not to interact with it in the chat if you're a minor. That's what I'm gonna say. The nature of my content is pretty gruesome. I can't control who can actually watch it if you don't have like YouTube Kids or whatnot. But if you are underage, no. I'm sorry. I will just remove you from the chat. But thank you so much. Thank you for wanting to listen to the case, even though you cannot interact. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep the chat cool as well. Wait. Let's keep the chat cool as well. The furry jokes are okay, but keep them light, please. Yes, exactly. Keep them light, this is still a true crime case. This is not exactly just a furry community case. I know that furry community can be the butt of the joke more often than not. Well, it is a very specific community, and again, 99% of people in that community are just, they just enjoy dressing up as furries, and they just enjoy this roleplay and enjoy the content. But there is that 1% that is just there's a lot to handle. So now, unfortunately, I know of a case, depending on, do bronies count as furries? Adjacent. I would say adjacent, yes, and a brony appears in this case, believe it or not. So yes, this is the last stream of the week. I will be taking a few days off, like 2-3 days off, and I'll be back on Wednesday. As always, Wednesday, we're back to streaming. Life does not give me a break. I'm dealing with another let's say infection, let's say health condition, and it's so annoying. And goddamn, like tooth, everything, cold, everything's happening, you know, like life doesn't give me a break, unfortunately. Shai, thank you so much for the super. What does Mothman count as then? I don't know. Insect sona? Wait, does it count as a furry though? I mean, I guess so. Like, there's a lot of animals that count as furries-ish. I saw dragons, so like dragons apparently count as furries for some reason. But I don't know about a moth. I think it would. It does have like some floof here. Some of the moths, right? Like they do have floof, so why not? I mean, have you seen the cake on that guy? Oh God. God, why? I mean, yes, Mothman, but I mean, you had to be there to really appreciate it. You had to be there. If you ever visit West Virginia, visit Point Pleasant, go see the statue of the Mothman and rub the cheeks because they are indeed majestic. They're glorious, okay? And they're gonna shine their glorious light upon you, and yeah, you're gonna be enlightened. You're gonna be freed. What can I say? There's gonna be a whirlwind of emotions when you do it. Been there, done that, and it was great. Wait, what about Bigfoot? Well, yeah, Bigfoot does it have a statue like that? I mean, I know that Bigfoot does have statues, but nothing like that, you know. No Bigfoot statue got that kind of fame for the cheeks. So whoever made the Mothman statue, thank you for blessing us with this creation. Okay, I think we are ready to begin. Let's do it. Let's jump right into it. So buckle up, because this story starts with a quirky California family and ends with a murder. So let's set the stage. We are in Anaheim, California, a city known for Disneyland, not exactly dark family secrets, right? And then we have the Yost household. It was a blended family. You had Christopher Yost, the dad, or more specifically the stepdad, married to Jennifer Yost. Jennifer had a daughter, Caitlin Goodwin, from a previous relationship. Even though yes, of course I would mess it up. I'm gonna say this now. Some media outlets refer to Caitlin as Caitlin Goodwill, because, you know, from her like biological father, I guess, like the previous name. And some articles simply refer to Caitlin as Caitlin Yost. So I'm just gonna call her Caitlin Yost, or just Caitlin. Okay, so Caitlin was Jennifer's daughter from her previous relationship, and the couple also had two younger daughters together. One was 6 years old and one was 9. They are gonna reappear in this story, not in the best circumstances. Now, Christopher was the kind of guy who liked to keep things low-key, you know, like he was a car enthusiast, he was a trophy designer, and the kind of dad who would quietly just tinker in the garage instead of making a big scene. And Jennifer, on the other hand, had a bit more of a flair. You know, she was a stay-at-home mom who channeled her creative energy into designing all sorts of items. She would design masks, like elaborate masks, like, you know, like the kind of Halloweenish prosthetics. Then she would design jewelry, to plushies, to even voodoo dolls. Basically anything a crafty goth aunt on Etsy might make. And she posted her creations online, specifically on DeviantArt, under the name The Jaded Raven, and later started her own website to sell them. So she was actually selling her creations. Things took on an even more colorful turn around 2013 when Jennifer got into the furry fandom. And if you're wondering what exactly that is, it's a lot. You know, it's a lot to handle. So it's a subculture where people dress up in full-body animal costumes, often with elaborate fursuits, like I guess it's fursuits, and take on those fursonas. See what I did there? Fursonas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is it's just hilarious that my name is so close to that. But fursonas. So yeah, they dress up as their fursonas or like animal alter egos, right? And some folks are in it for the art, performance, or community. Others dive deeper into the role-playing side. And some take it, you know, far further into the NSFW direction. What can I say? Let's the furries, exactly. Some of them take it a little bit far, you know, they take it into, but as long as it's like, I guess that's their private life, as long as it's with other humans and with other adult humans and in the privacy of their home, whatever, like their private business, that's fine. But some people just take it really, you know, just really out there, and some people take it to a level that's not legal. Okay, so not all furries are like that, just like not all clowns are scary. Just most of them are scary, but not all. Not all of the clowns are scary. Anyway, so it seems like Jennifer was completely into it. I mean, completely. She started going by the name Genma and, on the furry scene, and then the rest of the family didn't seem to mind. And Caitlin specifically, she seemed to catch the bug. This is Caitlin. At the time, Caitlin was a high schooler, and she was actually surprisingly strict on, like, kind of on the strict side. So she was part of the school's junior ROTC program, and she had dreams of joining the military. But alongside the military prep uniforms and this like perfect, honor student structured life, there was this whole other side of her, one filled with foxes and wolves and full-on fursona artwork. Yeah. Jesus, it's expensive to be. It's expensive to be a furry. It's so expensive. Okay, so in May 2014, the family attended something called the Furbarbecue. I guess furry barbecue. So basically a big outdoor furry meetup in Southern California, and that's where Caitlin really began to immerse herself into the community. Eventually, she started showing up to the conventions in her own costume, this gray and black fox wolf hybrid suit, and she even gave herself a name online. Her name was Daydreamer Foxwolf. Very fantasy core. Okay, so she was posting regularly on sites like DeviantArt and Fur Affinity, drawing her character and engaging in the furry art scene. She was very engaged, but these weren't just casual interests. This became a lifestyle, and soon both Jennifer and Caitlin were frequent attendees at community events, especially this one called the Rose Bowl Fur Meet, which was basically a bowling night for local furries hosted by the so-called Furs Group. That's the name of the, like, Southern California, right? So-called fur group. And it was at one of those events that they met two men who would later be at the center of this unimaginable tragedy, namely Frank, Felix, and Joshua Acosta. Remember these guys. Remember their faces. We're gonna see them a lot. So Frank was 25 at the time. He lived in Sun Valley with his family and served as a private first class in the U.S. Army stationed in Fort Irwin. Outside, Frank came off as just this quiet guy, polite, a little introverted, but dig a little deeper and things started to get a little weirder. Online, Frank went by the alias NT the Dragon, or NTX 367. That was his username, but he was NT, right? And he was known in the furry community for his intense dedication to this lifestyle. Like, he described himself as someone who had a rough childhood, felt like an outsider most of his life, and found comfort and belonging within the furry scene because he was so misunderstood. Aren't we all? As teenagers, not I mean, you know, adults too, but aren't we, don't we all feel like no one understands us? Because no one does. No one is a mind reader. That's what I'm gonna say. So Frank described himself online as laid back, philosophical, and was also drawing what can only be described as I'm not gonna show it because you guys have to look for it yourself if you wanna look up his DeviantArt account. Like, it's not horrible, but yeah, like if you know, yeah, there's a lot there. So he often drew what can only be described as hormone-soaked crayon smut, and his art, let's just say, it isn't fit for me to show here because, you know, unless your idea of family-friendly features dolphins doing very undolphin things, because that's what he did. Also, Joshua, thank you for the super. I'm sorry, but I can't stop looking at your tail. Yes, my tail is very distracting. Okay, so yes, he was drawing a lot of, there was a lot of dolphins. There was a lot of dolphins doing non-dolphin things at the beach with like a beach backdrop and, you know, the drawing, but he was very proud of the drawings. And listen, he really was passionate about drawing. It's just, maybe I might not like what he was drawing, but I respect the fact that he was, you know, he was really trying and he was really passionate about sketching and stuff, and he was proudly uploading the creations to the internet like it belonged in the Louvre of DeviantArt, you know. And he described himself as a beast furry artist, which sounds way more badass than what it actually meant in the context. But yeah, this is his kind of fursona, sort of like his person, right? Like his alter ego, the fur alter ego. And now, most people explore their creativity through painting landscapes or maybe some anime fan art, or, well, I mean, through different things. And Frank, he preferred, well, okay, I do have one artwork. I think this one's tame. YouTube, please don't kill me for this. Please don't murder me. But he preferred to draw these like hyper-sexualized animals with beach backdrops. Like, essentially they were on a beach and they were doing these things, like the stuffs. So yes, this is one of the tame ones. I think YouTube is gonna forgive me, hopefully. But yeah. And then, you know, he posted regularly when he wasn't lurking in online threads, replying to casual encounters ads, you know, dating apps and stuff, or, you know, dropping comments under NSFW Reddit posts about wanting to, quote, gulp down love butter, end quote. I wish I was kidding, but unfortunately I am not kidding. Believe me, I wish I didn't have to read this, but I had to, so to know the case. So yeah, I explored his Reddit account a little bit, his comments. It was interesting. But yeah, so he actually started hanging out more with Jennifer and Caitlin, sometimes even visiting their home. He and Jennifer developed like this close relationship. She would later say, well, some people would later say in the community, you know, that Jennifer was like a mother figure to him. So not Caitlin's mom, right? Like, she was kind of like a mother figure to everyone. She had this reputation in the furry community for being someone who looked out for the younger, more like emotionally troubled furries. And Frank, he definitely fit that bill. He was reportedly struggling with mental health issues and looking for connection. And he was the kind of guy who thought OkCupid was like a Buffett line, you know. He described himself as, quote, only interested in monogamous. I don't know how to read that. I'm sorry. In my head, monogamous, I think. Jesus. I cannot believe that this is the word I'm struggling with here. But yeah, he wanted non-committing, you know, casual sex and new friends. I'm sorry, but monogamous. What am I doing with my life? Monogamous, I guess monogamous. Sorry, I'm sorry. I know monogamy, but then it just, I see, we change, we go conjugation, or we turn it into an adjective, and I get lost. Anyway, non-committed relationships. Let's go this way. Non-committed relationship, just casual relationships, and Frank's attention turned to someone far more vulnerable. He turned to 17-year-old Caitlin. Yes, he was 25, she was 17. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Listen, it is what it is. Like, she was not 18 yet. And Caitlin had gotten closer and closer to Frank through local furry meetups, and it started, you know, innocent enough, but before long they were more than just furry friends, despite the glaring age difference. You know, 6 years, that's, well, wait, 80, wait, what am I talking about? He was 25. Why did I think of 23? So it's 8 years, which is, you know, like, oh, if you're adults, 2028, okay, yeah, that's a quite a, like, it is a fair difference, but it's not, you know, it's not illegal, but this is illegal. So yeah, it was 17 and 25. So yeah, and it wasn't a vanilla relationship, so to speak. I think there were definitely some concerns from Jennifer, from Christopher, because it didn't seem like it was a very vanilla relationship. Yeah. So Caitlin had gotten very, very close to Frank, and, you know, things progressed. And by early 2016, Frank was posting online about being in love for the first time. Like, here, I hate that when I'm in a relation, I am happy, then suddenly anxious, like, yeah, someone likes me, then suddenly, but what if they don't? You know, the post had this very melodramatic, hot topic drenched vibe, talking about happiness, anxiety, and how he was terrified of being loved. And he was writing poetry too, though calling it poetry is generous. Let's say it's very generous. One post in particular was this long, rambling ode to sex versus love, filled with intense imagery and angst. It was less Shakespeare and more Live Journal circa 2007. But let's look at it. And also, I am gonna be struggling because punctuation is not his thing, you know. A poem, sex satisfies the body, the hard pressure, the rough motions, the friction, the heat, the sensation. Jesus Christ, please spare me. Okay, the sensation, the aggression, the lust, the wand, the climax, the afterglow, the separation. Sex satisfies the body. It is easy and simple, can be paid for and attained through simple means. Sex is a drug to forget the lows and the empty. Sex satisfies the body. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I glitched a little bit. I think my brain is glitching. Meanwhile, Caitlin was walking the school halls bragging about her new older boyfriend. You know, she was, as a teenager would. Let's face it, yes, you know, it's cool to have an older boyfriend in high school, and she even claimed to be having sleepovers at his place, hence that's why I said this relationship wasn't exactly vanilla. Eventually, the gossip at school started spreading very fast. Rumors even spread that she might be pregnant. That part actually wasn't true, but, you know, it was enough to get her parents' attention. Like, they weren't concerned so far. They weren't that concerned at first because she wasn't really staying over at her place, or, you know, there weren't any strange rumors. But when she started to, well, that's when things got problematic. Doesn't even rhyme. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, it's poetry, okay? Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. Poetry, you don't understand. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's bad. I've actually known a girl in middle school who was dating someone in his 20s. I yeah, I've known a girl too. I've known several who dated, well, some were like literally vanilla relationships, so they weren't really like doing anything. Although I don't know. Some were not, because my classmate was pregnant in middle school. So yes, well, you know, and the guy was already 18 or like 20 at the time. So, well, yes, it's, yeah, I don't judge. She was a nice girl, and she finished school, and we went to high school together, and she was still perfectly, you know, like nice girl. It's just she made some bad choices. Maybe not the right choice, but hey, you know, it worked out. In the end, it worked out good for her, and I wish her well. Okay, but many of them don't work out, right? Like many of them end kind of badly, and my friend was lucky. Like she had like amazing parents and you know, like amazing family, and she turned out okay. But kids go to school, don't, you know, vanilla relationships, or like, you know what, my future child, I have to say, it's just gonna be no dating until I'm on deathbed. When I'm like 80, 90, 200, and you know what, you can start dating when I'm dead. That's it. I'm like, no dating. and then my kid is like 30, and I'm like, start dating. Children when, kids when. Oh God. Now I'm gonna be like, you're not gonna, you don't date boys, or you don't date, period, until I'm on my deathbed, and that's it. That's my last word. But Mom, no. You can date when Sona says parallel. Oh God, no, that's never gonna happen. That's not happening. I'm out of breath. Okay, back to the case. Okay, so the part, you know, like the part about her being pregnant wasn't really true, but it was enough to get her parents' attention. So Jennifer and Chris, Caitlin's mom and stepdad, finally caught wind of what was going on between Caitlin and Frank, and understandably, they were furious. Also, Joshua, thank you so much for the super. Child Sona, you're going to date then when I am dead. Yes, indeed. You're gonna date when I'm not here. So yeah, they were furious about it when they found out that these rumors were circulating, when they found out that Caitlin was actually staying over at, you know, her boyfriend's place, even though like they probably thought that, oh, Caitlin was staying over at a friend's house or something. That's probably what she told them. I don't know, but that's probably the excuse that she gave them. And Jennifer allegedly told Caitlin to cut ties with Frank immediately. She even vented to her friends that they didn't want some grown man hanging around their teenage daughter anymore, which is pretty reasonable, right? Well, Frank didn't take the breakup well. In fact, he spiraled. He spiraled. He took to Facebook, as you know, many scorned people do. And he posted one of those like long, cryptic, passive-aggressive rants that just reeked of emotional instability. He accused Caitlin of using him, lying to him, and swore that she would regret everything she had done. And in true drama king fashion, he ended it with a metaphor, comparing himself to a bombed out European city in World War II. You know, let's make it subtle. Let's not make a big deal out of it. You know what? Let's read this post. Let's read it because it's, this is something. Punctuation, again, not exactly his forte. I gave you so many chances and you kept coming back to me when you needed a pick me up, yet you seemed to like what I offered. You loved how honest and real I was compared to what you looked for, but the fact was also why you hated me. God, I could tell when you were lying and faking and when you were real, and if anything, I was the only person to really satisfy you in all ways possible. Sad thing I know is you're trying to kill all of those feelings and try and never come back to me, but you will. It's in your nature, but I might not welcome you back as openly as and as warmly as before without you. Jesus Christ, this is a one long ass sentence. This is just one streak of words. I cannot. Okay. But I might not welcome you back as openly and warmly as before without you confessing the truth completely and openly. And even when I know you'll still lie to me, you're just afraid to be open with people that can raise you like a European city during the Second World War. I just hope you're gonna regret everything you've done to me and everything you could have done and live with that guilt you've out on yourself every day. This is a long sentence. That is actually hard. Yes, Kronos, I agree. That is actually hard to process at all. Like, just and read. It's very hard. If a celebrity read a creepy poem, how would you all react? Same way. Same way. If a celebrity read, I was just like, are they okay? Are you on something? Are you on drugs? That's how I would react. I would be like, are you okay? I don't know. That post didn't have commas. No, it didn't have commas. It didn't have nothing. It had a lot of words. Okay, so shortly after this outburst on Facebook, Frank showed up to see Caitlin, and no exaggeration, he cut himself in front of her. Yes. He literally cut himself in front of her, and it was a This is not the shocking part. Like, this is the shocking part, but this is also not the crime part. It was just this manipulative move, you know, clearly meant to shock and guilt her. And it only made her parents more concerned. But Caitlin still hadn't fully let go of Frank. In fact, that is when she allegedly dropped a bombshell on him. She told him that her stepfather had been molesting her for years and that her mother had been abusive too. That's what she told him. She told him it started when she was just 7 years old. This is not gonna end well. That's not, yeah. That is what she told him, and that's bad. That was a lie. Well, question mark, you know, was it a lie? We don't actually know. Like, the molesting part, we don't know if it was a lie or not, and we're probably never gonna find out. Now, whether or not, you know, that allegation was true, yes, it remains debated, but to Frank, it was fuel on an alleged, already like blazing fire. And also, my throat is getting dry, so I'm gonna, excuse me while I drink. Jesus. Oh, sorry. But my voice was getting... Oh my god. Why? Why does it happen to me when I'm in the middle of the case? Okay. Okay, I'm good. I'm not choking anymore. So yeah, for Frank, it was, you know, it was fuel on an already blazing fire. Like, he was pissed already about the parents, right? Jennifer and Chris telling Caitlin to break up with him and to never contact him again, and he was enraged. And, you know, soon he found someone else who was just as furious and just as dangerous. He found his friend, Joshua Acosta. That was bad. So Josh was 21 and also in the military, and get this, he self-described as a brony, which means he was into My Little Pony. Yeah, this was a thing. This is apparently a thing. Ponies, not furries, not fursuits, but ponies. And well, not exactly a furry. Josh was adjacent, right? Like, he was adjacent to the furry community. And on paper, he was pretty straight guy, you know. He was a military guy, he was an army private and vehicle mechanic stationed at Fort Irwin, but online he was known as Josh Lennon, a self-proclaimed security head for furry events who loved guns and had a bit of a hero complex. So this is supposedly his fursona, Ponysona. So he had like this hero complex. Think of someone who probably watched John Wick one too many times and thought, yeah, I could do that. I could do that too. So that was Josh. Lennon, how many people have that last name? Well, a lot. A lot of people, but that was him. He was Josh Lennon or Lennon. I don't know how to pronounce. Like, I'm not sure how he pronounced that. Like, I think some YouTubers pronounce it as Lennon for some, like Lennon, but for some reason, like to me, it's Lennon. But okay. Okay, so he floated basically in the same online circles as Frank and as Caitlyn, and eventually he met Frank through mutual interests and shared frustrations. What connected Josh and Frank was more than just niche internet fandoms. They were both socially isolated, disillusioned, and increasingly angry at the world. And unfortunately, they found someone to channel the anger toward, and that was Christopher Yost and his wife. So this is where things get bad. This is where things get really bad. So Josh and Frank started emailing, talking about Caitlyn, the abuse allegations, and what could be done. And at first, the plan was pretty tame. Get Caitlyn emancipated. But the more they talked, the darker things got. And then the rescue mission, quote unquote rescue mission, started to morph into something far more sinister. So Frank also reached out to a friend online named Cody over on Facebook, saying that he was stressed out about something he couldn't talk about. And then when Cody pushed him to open up, Frank ominously mentioned that he might be involved in helping someone with murder. Yep. And also, Venom Snake, thank you so much for the super. Kept you waiting, huh? Well, yeah, you did keep me waiting. Hey, we're halfway there. And if we reach the goal, we cover another furry case next week. So, more furries. Okay, so yeah, Frank actually said that he's gonna be involved in murder, and Cody actually assumed that he meant an animal or something and kind of brushed it off, probably thinking that Frank was being dramatic again. But Frank was very serious, and behind the scenes, he and Josh were planning something horrifying. They agreed that the only way to truly save Caitlyn was to remove the threat entirely, and that meant killing her parents. Yeah. So the plan was in motion. The rescue mission being the main objective to side quest. Yep. The fudge is sweet thing. I know you meant it for the swear. Yes. Yes, you got it right. Seems kind of extreme. Well, that's what they thought. That the only way to save Caitlyn was to get rid of her parents. Also, Ian, thank you so much for the super. Just joined. I'm a big fan of Nyasona. Thank you. Well, maybe you're gonna see her next week as well. Okay, so they went shopping for supplies, and nothing that screamed murder too loudly. It wasn't screaming murder just yet too loudly, but just enough to raise some eyebrows. They bought shotgun shells, bolt cutters, earplugs. Frank's dad had a shotgun that they could use, and Josh was all too ready to pull the trigger himself. So he saw himself as the protector of this strange, like, costumed, community, the furries, as I said before. And he believed, like, truly believed that he was doing the right thing. And Caitlyn, for her part, allegedly agreed to help. Girl, what the fuck? Girl, why? But she allegedly agreed to help, and she knew the plan. She would leave the front door unlocked for them. So yes, the stage was set. Yes, I can see you guys saying, like, what? Why? Yep, she was allegedly in on it. So the stage was set September 24th, 2016, inside a modest house on West Terrace Avenue in the town of Fullerton. I mispronounce it, sorry. Fullerton. Jennifer Yost was doing what she did best. She was being a mom. And she even posted to Facebook that evening, happily sharing that she was making dinner for her family, just a regular Saturday night, filled with routine, comfort, and the kind of safety we all take for granted, until it isn't. So What Jennifer didn't know was that just a few streets away, two young men were sitting in a car plotting something unimaginably violent. I'm sorry, I mispronounced unimaginably. I know. Okay, so yes, I used that word and I wanted to use the word, but yeah, failed. Okay, so Caitlin and the guys had made the plan simple. She would leave the front door unlocked, and once that was done, she slipped out of the house and got into the car with Frank. This is actually the house where it happened. So she slipped out of the house, left the door unlocked, and went to, sit in the car with Frank, leaving Josh to go in alone. So really, Josh was the one to go in, shotgun in hand. The logic was, twisted. So according to the plan, whoever he encountered inside of the house first would either be shot or overpowered, either Jennifer or Christopher, right? But the thing is, the door didn't open to a parent, it opened to a guest. They had a friend over, a friend of the family named Arthur Billy Boucher, who was crashing on the couch that night, and Josh didn't hesitate. The moment he saw Arthur and Arthur started to stir awake, Josh pulled the trigger. One shot, direct hit to the head, and Arthur died instantly, having never even had the chance to grasp what was happening. It was very quick. Also Venom, thank you, but my name is Josh. Oh no. Yeah, that's a pretty popular name, yes. But is your name Josh Acosta? Hopefully not, because what the heck. So yes, Arthur unfortunately didn't even have a chance to really know what was happening, really, grasp the gravity of the situation. He just died instantly. And then Josh started moving deeper into the home. He headed for the master bedroom where Jennifer and her husband Christopher were asleep. What happened next was brutal and deeply, deeply personal. Josh raised the shotgun and fired at Jennifer point blank, nearly between the eyes, and she also never had a chance. But then, when he turned the gun, so then Josh, turned the gun on Chris, but the weapon jammed. And that brief moment of malfunction, gave Chris a chance, and he tried to make a run for it. But unfortunately, Josh cleared the jam just in time and fired again, striking Chris down as he fled. So Chris was trying to run away, and he was in the garden. He was already running out in the garden when Josh shot him. I mean, the scene was just pure carnage. 3 adults gone in a matter of minutes, just moments. 2 of them were the original targets, and 1 was just a friend in the wrong place at the worst possible time. Arthur wasn't supposed to be there. He just came over and he decided to stay over, and that was a mistake. What did all of the parents and government say, since that is a lot of paperwork? Wait. Oh, wait, what? So horrible, unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. What? This plan from the beginning, this idea from the beginning was just wrong. But they didn't think it was wrong. They were convinced that they were saving Caitlin, or, well, Josh. Yeah, I guess Josh was mostly bamboozled into it. Well, not bamboozled, but he was kind of railed up by Frank, and he, because of his mentality to begin with, that he's oh, he's the protector, he's very happy to use guns. Yeah, he believed it, and he was just yeah, I'm gonna do it. So with the killings done, Josh returned to the car, and Frank was still there. Caitlin, disturbingly calm, she was there too, and she didn't really seem to care. The 3 of them sped off, leaving behind a house full of death, 3 bodies, and, mind you, 2 sleeping children upstairs, who had just lost everything. I don't know how that happened, but the little girls didn't actually wake up during this whole ordeal. They slept through it. And the house was quiet the rest of the night until morning. Yes, there were kids. That's why I said that they're gonna appear again, because there were 2 girls, 6 years old and 9 years old. At around 8 a.m., the youngest daughter in the family, just 6 years old, she woke up and wandered the house. That's when she found her mother in bed, covered in blood, dead. So she went to find her 9-year-old sister, and the 2 girls, now absolutely terrified and in complete shock, did something most adults would struggle to do in that moment. They picked up the phone and called 911, and the call came in at 8:21 a.m. And the 6-year-old calmly told the dispatcher, "My dad is in the backyard and he's dead, and my mom is dead in her bed." You know, just like that. The kind of sentence that no child should ever have to say, but she had to communicate it to the dispatcher. First responders arrived within minutes. What they found was, well, nothing short of chilling. 3 adults had been killed at near point blank range, and the 2 little girls were somehow physically unharmed, but they were clearly traumatized. There were no signs of forced entry because Caitlin opened the door and left it unlocked, and there was no murder weapon, no blood trail out the door, and one very important detail stood out: Caitlin was missing. The police still, it looked like a triple homicide and a potential 4th victim, an abducted teenager. That's how it looked like to the police, right? Oh, whoever did this killed the adults and abducted Caitlin, so Caitlin was their target to abduct. But the adults, stood in the way, right? Kids were spared, but Caitlin was abducted. That's what they thought at first. And at that point, no one was suspecting Caitlin. Quite the opposite. Like, people were terrified that she was in danger, or she was, like, worse, already dead. Posters went up, social media lit up, friends, family, teachers, neighbors, they all shared photos of Caitlin, urging anyone with information to come forward. Candlelight vigils were held. People came over to the house to leave these like cards and, good wishes and posters that said "love you" and "love you, Jen and Chris." And yeah, like, no one could make sense of how much a tragedy had happened in a normal neighborhood. But then something clicked. Jennifer had been very open with her friends about the trouble that she was having between, like, Caitlin and Frank, right? Like, she was having with Caitlin and Frank. She shared that she and her husband were trying to keep their daughter away from him, that they were concerned that Frank had been manipulating Caitlin and might not be letting go easily. And it didn't take long for the investigators to follow that trail. Frank was already on their radar, and once they connected him to Caitlin and then Josh, everything started to fall into place. The narrative shifted very fast. Caitlin was no longer just a missing person. She was possibly complicit, a part of the plan, or worse, one of the architects of the plan. Boy, you have no idea yet, but the police will soon find out. Ian says that's one of the absolute worst parts. 2 children are now parentless. Yeah, like, it's freaking tragic, because first 3 people died, then 2 kids just lose everything. It's messed up. Absolutely. Not to mention, they woke up to carnage. They woke up to this mess in the house, and their parents dead, and the family friend also dead. 3 people they had to call 911. Like, what 6-year-old, what 9-year-old should be going through that? None of them. No one should be going through that, especially not children. Okay, so now, police thought, like, wait a minute, is Caitlin a part of this? Is this what's happening? Was she even like behind this? And when the police finally tracked the three of them down, well, let's just say the story got even darker. Authorities tracked down Caitlin Yost, and she was alive, she was unharmed, and not exactly hiding, because in fact she was found at Frank Felix's army base where he had been stationed in the past. It wasn't exactly subtle. Police executed a search and quickly found something damning: spent shotgun shells that matched the kind of, the kind used in the crime scene. So these were the shotgun shells. Like, there was no doubt they matched, and the shotgun matched. By next morning, after some intense questioning and a few red flags that screamed, "We did something awful," both Joshua and Frank were arrested. The two were tossed into the Orange County Jail. Caitlin, meanwhile, was taken into custody as well, although she ended up in juvenile hall. Frank, maybe feeling the weight of the world cracked first, like he started singing pretty fast. In interviews with detectives, like, he opened up, and not just like, let me get a lawyer way, in a confessional way. Like, he was just like, okay, I'm gonna confess, I'm gonna tell you guys everything. And he cracked pretty quickly. He actually said that Caitlin told him that she was being abused, which is true, right? Like, he said, Caitlin told me that she was being molested, she was being abused, that her home wasn't safe, and that she needed to get out. And he believed her. So much so, in fact, that he decided that the only way to protect her was to eliminate the threat entirely. And in Frank's mind, in his mind, that meant murder. He said that he wasn't being cruel, he was being merciful. He even bragged to police that he left food out for Caitlin's younger sisters before fleeing the scene. Like, we left the food out so that their little girls can, they don't have to go hungry. As if that somehow balanced out the whole, we murdered 3 people in cold blood. We murdered your parents. As if that, like, absolves you of anything because you left out some food. Lord have mercy. Okay, so Frank also admitted that they actually knew that Arthur Billy Boucher would be staying the night, and he said that they were, quote, prepared to kill him too, end quote. And this was just another casualty in what Frank called a necessary purge. That's what he called it. Like, this was necessary. This was unavoidable. We had to save her. And according to him, the Yost home was a, quote, festering wound, and he was the one who had to cauterize it. Yes, he literally said, I had to cauterize it. Like, as if murder was some kind of surgical procedure instead of an unspeakable act of violence. Like, that's what he referred it to. He's just like very cold-blooded. He's like, nope, had to fix it, had to save her, and just, yeah, that's what he said. So both Frank and Josh were slapped with 3 counts of first-degree murder, each carrying what prosecutors called a special circumstance enhancement, basically a legal add-on that bumps the charges up due to the brutality and number of victims. And their bail was set to $1 million each, which obviously neither of them could really post this bail, right? And Caitlin wasn't charged. She wasn't charged, at least not at first. She claimed that she didn't know what her friends were planning. And according to her, she'd asked Frank and Josh to pick her up that night, just a getaway plan. She was like, I want to run away. And that's all, like, she had no idea. She had no idea that they were going to show up with a shotgun and kill everyone. Like, she didn't know. Oh no, we were bamboozled. That's what we were. We were trying to just run away. We were just bamboozled that they did something this horrifying. Oh no. Yeah, like, she didn't know. Frank, for what it's worth, backed her up. He said Caitlin wasn't really in on it, and she had no clue what was about to go down. Sure she didn't. I am certain that she didn't know. Of course. Please. I'm sorry, I had to zoom in for the dramatic effect. By now, you know, word of the case had exploded, especially online. The fact that both Frank and Josh were known in the furry and brony communities only added fuel to the fire. It was the kind of bizarre twist that media outlets and Reddit threads just couldn't resist. And I mean, I couldn't resist to cover this case because it's so strange. And when it came time for their arraignment, both men flat out refused to allow news cameras in the courtroom. You know, they said they didn't want the spectacle, but too bad, because the spectacle had already begun. Okay, so by January, both Josh and Frank entered the not guilty plea. That delayed things even more, pushing the trial into spring. And that's when things got really complicated, because during the trial, prosecutors laid out the entire sequence of events, you know, Josh entering the home, killing Arthur on the couch, then executing Jennifer and Chris on one after another. They detailed how calculated the plan had been, and they painted a chilling picture of a young man who didn't hesitate to kill. This is actually Frank, like more recently, but that's actually Frank. And Caitlin, now the wild card in the case, she took the stand in exchange for immunity. You bitch! Oh, you bitch! What the? That's twisted. That is just... She is shifty. Okay, so she took to the stand in exchange for immunity. She testified under oath that she had been sexually abused by her stepfather. Whether or not those claims were true was nearly impossible to determine because, you know, especially after Caitlin admitted that she had previously lied to both the police and her friends about who had abused her and how. So again, it's impossible to tell, but I have a feeling that it wasn't true. It wasn't actually true, but okay. Well, it's just hard to believe her, but that was her stance, you know, like she was... Oh, Sona got mad. Yes, I got mad because it's just sick of this bullshit. But yes, you know, like she said that she was being molested by Chris. And obviously now it's impossible to prove, you know, because Chris cannot defend himself because Chris is dead. That admission, those like shifting stories, cast serious doubt on everything else she said. The defense jumped on that, arguing that Caitlin had manipulated Josh and Frank into killing for her. Caitlin, for her part, like denied it. She said that she just wanted to tell her mom about the abuse that night. That she had no idea things were about to spiral into bloodshed. Sure. Of course you didn't know. Of course you didn't know. I mean, if that was true, then like why, first of all, why leave the house? Second of all, why leave it open so that Josh can sneak in? If you were just going to talk, if you were just going to tell your mom that your stepfather was molesting you, why even leave the house and why even bring two guys to sneak in? Well, one of them snuck in. What is Josh's part in all of this? What is Josh's part in talking to your mother about the potential like crime that has been committed by the stepfather? Why let a guy with a shotgun into your house in the dead of night? That's, you know, that's kind of, it doesn't add up. Also, Joshua, thank you so much for the super. It's okay, Sona. Have some tuna. Wait, I'm gonna have some water because this is crazy. Jesus. Okay, I'm good. But yeah, you know, why I'm watching this when playing. Oh, okay. No worries. Yeah. Relax, watch, listen to the case. Sona would slap Caitlin. I would bitch slap her. Like backhanded bitch slap, you know, that kind of thing. Painting, sketching, eyes, metal, what? I was wondering where my tuna went. Yes, it all goes to me. For Sona does love tuna. Hey, oh, it does actually make sense. Also, Shai, thank you. Shai, thank you so much for this, for the super. Sona, question, where's the tail connected? You don't know. To my tailbone. What do you mean? It's a tail to my tailbone. Yeah. Okay. The extreme backhand. Exactly. The extreme backhand. So yeah, Caitlyn took to the stand. She told this, incredible story how, oh, this just went so badly and I just wanted to talk to my mom and confess that my stepfather was doing these things to me. Oh no. And I was trying to get my friends to help by sneaking into the house in the middle of the night with a shotgun. That's how I wanted to help. That's how I wanted to talk to them. Also, Joshua says, Shai asking the real questions. The real questions, the serious questions. Okay, so on December 14th, 2018, Joshua Acosta was convicted on all 3 counts of first-degree murder, along with the special circumstances. And his sentence was set to 3 life terms without parole, plus an extra 75 years to life for good measure. He was sent to Mule Creek State Prison in Amador County, which... Mule Creek, it kind of fits since he was a brony. He was a pony. So, hey, close enough. Mule, pony, close enough. Also, Venom, thank you so much for the super. Why are we here just to suffer, Kazuhira Miller? Why are we here just to suffer? Why? Okay, Frank's trial, on the other hand, has dragged on because unlike Josh, Frank didn't actually pull the trigger, right? Like it was Josh. Josh snuck in and he shot Arthur, Jennifer, and Chris. But Frank did help plan everything and he was the getaway driver, right? He knew what was going to happen. He knew what was going on in the house and he allegedly helped destroy evidence afterward. All of that makes him just as legally guilty, just as legally responsible or, responsible for this crime. But because of his less direct role and some legal complications by, the COVID-19 pandemic, his case has been had been stuck in a limbo for a long time. But just last month, I believe it was like April 14th-ish of 2025, the verdict finally came and Frank was sentenced to also 3 life terms in prison. And his legal team, also Bacon, I forgot about the case. Hi Sona, hi Bacon, thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, it's the regular stream, how could you forget? What? Okay, so Frank's legal team has tried to argue that Frank is on the autism spectrum, possibly hoping for some kind of leniency or understanding from the court. But so far, Frank has presented himself as very calm, articulate, and aware of his actions. And it's unlikely that angle, contributed in his favor. It just didn't. The court was just like, listen, you are... whether or not you're on autism spectrum, we can't really determine that like this, right? Like do you have a formal diagnosis? Like supposedly he didn't. There's no proof that he had like any formal diagnosis of being on the autism spectrum. Not to mention he, in front of the court and all throughout this case, he presented himself as, very calm, very articulate, like no signs of autism whatsoever. Like if there was any, then maybe he was on the very lightly on the spectrum. But yeah, it didn't really help him, and he got sentenced to 3 life sentences, like life terms in prison. And as for Caitlyn, she got that immunity, yeah, but she also disappeared from the internet, from the public eye, from the furry fandom. She deleted her main social media accounts almost immediately after the murders, Facebook, Twitter, everything gone. Her furry accounts weren't deleted, but she just never logged in again. And it's clear that even those who once saw her as a friend have turned against her. On Jennifer's old Facebook page, former friends have left angry comments under her photos. Some called her evil. Others just asked her, like, why did you do this? Why did you do this to your mom, to your parents, like to your stepfather? What the heck? To your little sisters, half sisters, but little sisters. Why did you do that? And to this day, no one really knows what the full truth is, whether Caitlyn was a victim, whether she was a manipulator, or a little bit of both. Also, Bacon, I forgot because I pulled my fun car out of the garage from winter, and the clock was reading an hour earlier because daylight savings time. Hey, sorry. Apologies. Well, I mean, why am I apologizing? Wait, no, it's okay. It's okay, Bacon. Sorry that happened, and I'm glad that you tuned in either, like, anyway. So yeah, so to this day, no one really knows if Caitlyn was telling the truth about the molestation, even though I don't exactly believe her. Like, it's just, I don't know, it just sounds kind of too convenient. Like, that she told Frank at this exact moment, it just sounded a little bit too convenient. But one thing is clear. 3 people died that night. 2 girls lost their parents forever. And an entire community, you know, furry or not, because it doesn't matter, was left trying to make sense of the senseless, you know, of the senseless killings. And that is it. The perpetrators are in prison. Well, not all of them, because honestly, I think that Caitlyn also, you know, was responsible. To me, I don't know. Again, the evidence isn't very clear about Caitlyn's involvement, like how much she was involved in this. But my personal opinion is that she was involved, and she knew, and she wasn't molested, and she just wanted to get rid of her parents, and that's it. Venom Snake, thank you so much for this. From here on, you're big boss. Hey. Everyone is responsible to me. Everyone, to me too. Like, this is my personal opinion, not a professional opinion, because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I'm not, you know, in law enforcement. But my personal opinion is that, personal impression is that, you know, Caitlyn was responsible. Joshua Hernandez, Joshua, more furries. What have I done? Oh no. The goal was achieved, which means we're gonna have another furry case next week. So yeah, unfortunately, Caitlyn kind of got away with it. She got out. She wasn't charged. She wasn't sentenced because she testified against Josh and Frank in exchange for complete immunity. So she disappeared from the face of the internet, and now she just lives, she is free. And no one can really prove that she was in on it. So it worked out pretty well for her. I always knew Sona had a FEARSONA in her. Well, today I'm embracing FEARSONA because everyone just keeps mispronouncing my name, so whatever, it's fine. And the case is fitting. Also, Venom, thank you so much. I didn't know about a goal. Yeah, there was a goal, and there's gonna be another case from the furry community next week. Yes. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Why? So yeah, FEARSONA is gonna be back next week. You guys, thank you so much for today. I hope you found the case interesting. What do you think? What do you think about Caitlyn? Because we know that Frank and Josh, they were like all in on this case. What do you think about Caitlyn? Was it true that Chris was molesting her? Was it true that she was just an innocent, you know, accessory here in the case? Or did she actually manipulate? Was she actually the mastermind? Did she actually manipulate the guys into doing her evil bidding? Never knew I needed Nekosona until I received it. Ask and you shall receive. Further. Thank you for this stream. You're welcome. Any hints on the next case? Well, there's a couple, so I'm not sure which one I'm gonna go with. But possibly a smelly one. Possibly a very smelly one. Very possible. That's gonna be the one. Awesome stream. Thank you so much. I think she was a liar. Yeah, I have a feeling that she was not truthful. Documentaries are best watched after dinner. They might have a bad aftertaste. Oh yeah, especially the next case. Like if I cover the one that I'm thinking about, then for next case, right, like next Sunday, I suggest that you don't watch it while eating. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Smelly, yes. It's gonna smell like death. But yes, I suggest that you don't eat during the next case next Sunday. Because it's gonna be a lot. Take care, Sona, and everyone, take care. I enjoyed the stream. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. So watch after meals. Yeah, watch after meals or before meals. I don't know, like just kind of be careful about it. It's only been 10 minutes. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, unfortunately, yes, yeah, I started an hour ago, so yeah, I'm sorry that you couldn't catch the whole stream, but the VOD is gonna be there, so you can catch that. Now I'm gonna eat something. Yeah. Next time, everyone, until next time. Yes. Okay, thanks for telling me. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just fair warning. Fair warning. The next case, I suggest that you guys don't eat nothing or eat before or eat after. Good idea. I won't eat during the next stream because I don't want to choke on my food. Yes, that would be the best idea, I think. The best course of action, because I don't think you guys can handle food during the stream. Anyway, this is the last stream of the week. I'm gonna be taking, a couple of days off. I'll be back on Wednesday, most likely. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday evening, as usual, 6 p.m. Pacific time, unless the time changed again. So I have to like figure it out. But I don't think it did, right? Anyway, I'll see you guys on Wednesday with some more streams, more body cam footage. We're gonna be watching police body cam videos of suspects being smarter than the detectives, so we're gonna watch that, and then yeah, we'll see because I'm preparing for the the new design debut that's happening in June. I just have a shit ton of things to set up, shit ton of things to figure out and just draw and finish. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes. I'll be working on that on Monday, Tuesday. Hopefully I can finish some things. But yeah, thank you so much for all the super chats. We've reached our goal for today, and I will welcome you with another furry case next week. In the meantime, stay safe out there. Always lock your doors and windows. Bury your haxes. Until the next time. Bye. Fabian, thank you so much for the super. Here, persona. Nyan. I don't actually have. Wait, do I have a fun fact? I wonder if I have a fun fact. Oh, there's a bird that looks like. Wait, I didn't show you guys, but there's a bird that imitates a dragon. Like, it looks like a dragon. I forgot what the name is, and it looks like toothless. Have you guys seen this bird? It's amazing. You guys should check it out. Also, dangling cat toy persona. Hey. Meow. Why? Why did I do that? Dragon. Yeah, like I swear to God. I swear to God, there's a bird that looks like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. Wait. Dragon bird. What is it called? Is it dragon bird? It's called the great-eared nightjar. Oh, that's the one. The great-eared nightjar. That's nightjar. You guys should check it out. Google it now. Also, Gone, thank you so much for this. Can you just say some insults? I don't know what I don't know. I can't insult people. Why would I say some insults? The heck? Well, anyway, that's it. You have the fun fact. You can look it up yourself. But thank you so much for the super. Thank you so much for the stream, for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Jose, thank you so much. There are some weird birds out there. Like, you guys should check it out because it's crazy. Anyway, bye.